All right, hey y'all, how y'all doing? Just gonna try to do a little bit of this book about the cell salts, okay? Because all of this chakra and raising your energy, opening your third eye, and all that, there's a few things that the body has to have for it to be able to do it, as far as like minerals and things. And this is very interesting because there are 12 salts, and they're supposed to be developed while we're in the womb. But we're only in the womb for 9 months. So if there's 3 of these for each person, depending on your birthday, that you're going to need in order to help you maintain a high vibration and stay vibrating high, then we need to know about this. So I'm going to read um, a little bit about it. Okay, I put the thing up there. I, I want to just read. I put the title so somebody can go in if they want to read all of this. It's just look it up, Google it. I see this. Therefore, a perfect supply of the right chemical elements means perfect cells, perfect brain, perfect thought, perfect acts, perfection, a God man. Contributing to the foregoing, I beseech my deep and lasting gratitude to Dr. George W. Carey for the chemical light which he has thrown on dark places. Reader, truth is the water of life. May you drink deeply and begin to learn how to live forever. I even got a Bible scripture here, but that's what a lot of people are having a problem with. They're thinking that the church invented this and stuff, so you're gonna have to use your own inner knowing and your discernment of spirits, and go meditate on it, read it. Don't just think they invented it so you don't read it. And then how creepy this is. I think it said he was. It's not creepy, but I was reading a little bit earlier. I think he was born on. Talk about the birth of him and stuff. How the sky was lined up when he was born, because all of that matters. That's what's the connection here to these chemicals, is that they're um, the 12 signs of the Zodiac. They correspond to that. So this all has to do with like your life path, your birth chart. These are. I think this is still all about the birth of the author. I'll just read this so it's on my video in case anybody wants to know who he is and stuff a little bit. Dr. George Washington Carey was born in Dixon, Illinois on September 7, 1845, and was one of a large family of children. His father's name was John Carey and bore the relation of grandnephew to John Quincy Adams on his mother's side. A grandfather served with General Marion during the Revolution. Hold on, I can. Sorry. His mother's name was Ruth Odell. When George Carey was about a year and a half old, the Careys left Illinois and came by covered wagon to Oregon, a journey of 6 months. The motion picture entitled The Covered Wagon gives an extremely realistic presentation of the main features of that trip, and Dr. Carey greatly enjoyed seeing it. He had very little schooling, but his parents were well qualified to teach him the fundamentals. His father was well known for his humorous verses, which embodied much of Irish wit. As a child, George was very delicate, his parents being doubtful that he would grow to manhood. His early years were spent on a farm, the evening enlivening by music. Later on, he became leader of the village orchestra. In his early 40s, he became the first postmaster of Yakima, Washington, and held the position for several terms. Hearing of the science of biochemistry, he resigned to devote his life to its study. Together with a number of physicists, Dr. Carey founded the College of Biochemistry in Yakima, Washington, and a few students enrolled and graduated from among them being the college founders. But as this was many years ago, not much interest in the subject was aroused, and the project was given up because of lack of support. Dr. Chapman was one of those taking the course, and the book which he wrote on biochemistry has been popular household work. Today, the science is coming before the world seemingly by leaps and bounds. Schools devoted to the teaching of biochemistry in a particular way are starting up in many states of the Middle West, and entire families are learning how to supply their blood deficiencies. After years of almost heartbreaking pioneering of almost utter discouragement on the parts of its advocates, the science is now fast becoming recognized. In 1928, I believe the Electric College of Chiropractic of Los Angeles added biochemistry to its curriculum. Most people are not aware that biochemistry is an ancient Sanskrit science. Once again, the cycle has appeared, upon whose wave it is born. When Dr. Carey wrote his work on the biochemic system of medicine, its first press recognition was in a health magazine published by biochemic physicians in India. It stated, "We are glad to see that the Western brother is helping to bring back the ancient science of biochemistry." The book referred to above is now in 23rd edition. Years ago, when Dr. Carey wrote this treatise on, he was financially unable to publish it, and sold the copyright to the Lutis Pharmacal Company of St. Louis. Old Dr. Lutis, the founder of the firm, as well as Dr. Browick, had interviewed Dr. William Schussler, the originator of biochemistry, in Oldenburg, Germany. They learned his method of preparing the cell salts or mineral constituents of the body and presented it in this country. Since Dr. Carey's death in 1924, the last edition of his book was re-edited by Dr. Arthur Carey and is not and it has lost its old familiar aspect. The writer of this article is now preparing a new and up-to-date edition, combining with the science of astrology. This will enable anyone to work out his or her own individual chemical plan from the birth data. It was Dr. Carey who, in one of those strange and rare moments which come to those who seek, ascribed to each sign of the zodiac its corresponding chemical element or salt. Salt is an old term for earth, and wrote, "The relation of the mineral salts of the body to the signs of the zodiac, the most unique work of the century and the most valuable. It has been regrettable that so many have copied this work, plagiarists who have never mentioned his name as the distinguished author." Recently, a Chicago magazine carried an advertisement, much of which was copied word for word from one of his circulars. No credit given and no quotation marks used, because the work was never copyrighted by Dr. Carey. Is no excuse for not giving the author credit for it. It is for this purpose of emphasizing this and securing for him permanent recognition that this 14th edition is combined with some new writings of my own and copyrighted. Okay, so. And as it is the 14th in the series, it means a new product, the mystical fruit of a new age, the Aquarian, concerning which Dr. Carey often wrote and spoke. It is a new product because for the first time it is definitely stated to be the key to physical regeneration and spiritual illumination. The 14th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is N, spelled none. In that language, its literal interpretation is fish, fruit, or progeny. In the biblical story, Joshua was the son of Nun, And Joshua is the origin of the Latinized form Jesus. Therefore, Jesus also means fish. It is common known for that fish has been the esoteric symbol for 2,000 years, at least for the Son of Man. This will be dealt with at great lengths under Virgo, the sixth lesson or chapter. This edition, then, is symbolic of all that the letter N means, the new man, for it gives information relative to the necessary materials required to produce or create that new man. Dr. Carey also gave to the world the formula for bioplasma, which is a combination of the 12 inorganic salts of the blood combined in the proportion which he considered necessary to create healthy or chemically perfect bodies. Those who are familiar with his book, The Biochemic System of Medicine, feel that he improved greatly the application of Schussler's system. More and more information is being constantly obtained so that still further contribution will be made to this invaluable science. As the scriptures state, all things work together for good, and until we learn what they are and apply them, we cannot hope to arrive at the perfect state. Some years after becoming interested in biochemistry, Dr. Carey edited a small magazine dealing with this subject and containing also humorous articles and poems from his pen. His Chemistry of the Cosmos found many appreciative readers, as it contained unusual poems as well as articles of scientific nature. One which was especially valued was entitled It and dealt with the one universal Eve from which all things originate and to which they eventually return. His explanation for slang phase is very interesting as well as instructive, but he brings out the fact that they are based on truth and that the cosmic mind or planetary vibration, implying the same as radio waves on the human brain, act at a certain time, cause mental electricity to etch in a certain manner on the wax-like brain cells. Hence, thoughts are produced relative to particular subjects. In just this way, public or mass interest is aroused along definite lines. Great truths are thus expressed in a manner attractive to great majority of minds. Step down, we may say, in a vernacular which is catchy, while the idea back of it all is comprehended only by a few. Not only was Dr. Carey deeply interested in life chemical mysteries, but his searching mind longed to solve the greatest of all, that of physical regeneration and spiritual illumination, and the plan of process necessary for its attainment. Hiram Butler's theory appeared to him, and he began his searches along that line, finding the finding at last that God, Word, seed, fish, Jesus, and progeny are words simonious in meaning, and when understood from their etymological derivation, will unlock the door to of the inner mystery. He discovered that that essay, I think, ESSE, the substance of being, The elixir of life, in other words, the brain or life substance, is the protoplasmic seed material, which is found to be the possession of every human being. The Herculean task or great work which everyone must perform eventually is the purification and perfection of this material, for it then becomes the Christ or holy oil. The astounding revelation of what this means came to Dr. Carey when he had passed his 17th year, and he went forth bravely to give it to the world. He found at a late date what he had been searching for all his life, the greatest secret of all. He said, "It is not hidden from anyone, but each hides it from himself because of mental inability to grasp it." And thus he set his feet at last upon the rung of the ladder which leads back home to God or good. To find that rung and sets one's feet thereon is the day of all days. For every human being there one must begin the climb. Literally, it means that one is endeavoring to become a Christian, to make a new being of oneself. To become a Christian does not refer to a belief that a certain man was killed by mob in order that our sins might be forgiven. In fact, that is utter nonsense, for it would make null and void the law of cause and effect and contradict point blank the declaration that we must work out our own salvation. It truly must be worked out, for it is a definite process, physiological and mental, and hence moral. The climb to the heights is not the work of one lifetime, but of many, for the simple reason that it is too great a task to accomplish in a few short years. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The Bible states, yes, free from pain, sickness, sorrow, and death, for truly death is the last enemy to be overcome. Death aside from accident is the result of dis-ease, inharmony in the chemical elements of the blood, hence cell starvation. Therefore, we will overcome death when we know enough to live. One link of the chain of bondage, ignorance falls off at a time until we are free. Dr. Carey's initial attempt to give out information relative to the subject of occult philosophy, uh, psychology, whatever, and the process of redemption and the salvation was a book entitled The Tree of Life. It was this publication which gave me my first insight into the real nature of the scriptures and occult works in general. I realized that they I realized that this noble science synthesized all of them. I found it a veritable treasure house of facts and dug deeply and am still digging in this mine of wealth. In his 72nd year, Dr. Carey offered me a partnership which was accepted and purchased like his. My interest was, is, and will be entirely along these lines. In 1923, the work of the Los Angeles office was taken over. So, in 1923, the work of the Los Angeles office was taken over by me, and he sailed for Australia, his plan being to spend some time there. However, the long and tiresome trip and arduous work in a new field was more than he should have attempted. He mapped out too much work, too many lectures. He felt he must not lose a moment, that The great message must be given without ceasing. Humanity's need was so great, and the time so short. It was short for him as he was nearing his 80th year, and short also for those who had not yet turned to higher things. Earth is preparing once again for a great change as the solar system nears the constellation of Aquarius. The 2,160 years required for it to pass through its atmosphere is termed the Aquarian Age, or the Age of the Son of Man. Humanity must begin to look upward, for it will be forced to be, for it will be forced to by this very vibration. The mind must begin to expand, and the animal man must last make a decided effort to purify himself of his animal nature and become really humane. Then will humanity work with nature and not against her. And thus indeed will the very earth be made new, and there shall be a new heaven and a new earth. Dr. Carey and I together revised and enlarged the Tree of Life, and as co-authors published God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, together with a large physiological chart giving much data on occult psychology, and indicating the positions of the seven great nerve centers or chakras, otherwise the seven churches of Asia. This work has seen 3 editions. It is temporarily out of print, awaiting for the completion of a mass new material which will be added to it. Dr. Carey also published 2 other books, The Chemistry of Life and The Chemistry of Wonders of the Human Body. Returning to the States from his trip to Australia, he went to San Diego to lecture, and on the 17th day of November 1924 stepped forth from his physical vehicle. His wish, his wish that it be cremated was fulfilled. Um, the Grand Army of which he was a member had charged of the service. Okay. To those who ask the question, why did not the cell food and his belief in physical regeneration cause him to live longer, I will say that the answer has already been given. He found the key to physical regeneration only after he had passed 70. The process is not of one's life, one incarnation, but of many. Only those unfamiliar with this subject ask the question. He lived at least longer than the average person, even though beginning life was very sensitive, delicate body. Constantly engaged in strenuous work, he accomplished more at 70 years of age along that line than the average man of 50. And he traveled and lectured up to the very last. Dr. Carey mentally was of a merciful type, Mercury and the Sun having been in Virgo at birth, therefore he was critical and analytical. When lecturing, he would make a tremendous iconoclastic statement relative to some astounding fact, and without explaining soar on his Mercury wings to more lofty heights. Resting for a moment, his audience would be blinded by another flash from the mighty sword of truth. But he left it to them to fill in the intervening spaces, and very few could. His flights into mental ether where facts are born were so lofty that his journey was a lonely one. His satisfied his was a truly scientific mind which nothing but facts could satisfy, and he deemed facts of others in his early 40s. He gave up smoking and never took liquor in any form whatsoever, as he realized what effect they had both on the delicate tissues and membranes and glands of the body, which the scriptures call the temple of God. In this incarnation, he did the best he could to utilize and work out of the truths he had contacted. Many people all over the country tell me that the information which Dr. Carey gave forth in his writings and lectures have been the means of opening up an entirely new vista of life to them, and they bless him for it. We too bless him and radio out gratitude to him in the realm of the unseen where he is waiting when the time is ripe and the astrological moment arrives, which will produce the vibration necessary for his reappearance in the objective. May he come forth again in the physical manifestation to go on with the work he loves so well. Rest that cat in peace. That was almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. So that was just about him and his book. Oh, but did you see the other books that he has? The Tree of Life, God, Man, the Word Made Flesh. Yeah, and then it says down here 2 other books, The Chemistry of Life and The Chemistry of Wonders of the Human Body. Okay, so there's a couple of things you could look up, read about. He was definitely into biochemistry, and yeah. Go back to the top. Source of salvation. Let's see. Now, see, this is just some pictures to show this. This is what the God stands for, because this is a process of this place, and our bodies are doing this thing too, just like the tree. It's trying to get up to the heavens, but we had to come down here. So it's all kind of metaphorical for raising ourselves up for ascension through our spinal cord. That's what all the chakra stuff is talking about. This is where our seat is. This is where we regenerate. We light it up till we get to the disillusion of physicality. This is something that I guess there's not a better word, but what we call evolution. This is the Shiva Linga in India, and it's saying it's representing the same thing. So, these cell salts are necessary. That's what Dr. Carey discovered, that the body needs them in order to do this process. All right, well, I'm going to come back with another video and read the individual cell salts from the book, see how many I could get. I'm going to go to sleep though now because I sounded tired. I hope this video came out good. I hope I was clear. Sorry if it was too slow. You know, you could speed the video up so the reading will be faster. Or you could just pause it and read it yourself and then do what you like. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for share these videos if you can. Alright. Stay tuned.